folks, it's Uncle Mitch again. We're going to have to get through a couple of really quick dry topics in order to get to the big one for the day. First one is a topic called tort reform. A lot of you may not completely understand what that means because the laws are basically written by lawyers for lawyers. They're filled with jargon and loopholes and other stuff so that they can exploit the law, but those of us who aren't educated in the law can't because we don't understand the speech. Let me share something with you. All you got to do is grab a thesaurus and a dictionary. Once you start reading some of these codes, it's going to make your hair stand on end. But what tort reform basically means is that there are people within the U.S. government and within different sectors of society who are basically saying we're sick of seeing lawsuits that are giving women $2 million for spilling hot coffee in their lap at a McDonald's drive-thru. And we're hearing all about all these horrifying lawsuits where people get vast sums of money for the most inane things. Hell, I saw one once that pissed me off to no end. Capital One had to give a $15 million settlement because they didn't post people's accounts till 15 minutes after midnight on the day they were supposed to post. And the attorneys pretty much got all the money. Here's why I'm not for tort reform, and this is important. It leads into the things later on. When a class action lawsuit was first proposed and put into force by the Supreme Court of the United States, it was for one purpose and one purpose alone. We don't have enough public prosecutors. We don't have enough attorney generals. They can't take up every case that involves somebody screwing up so bad that they need to get hammered in the face. Their activity may not be criminal or may not be criminal enough for them to actually spend their time and resources of the public money to make that happen. So what do we have as a resource? We had a bunch of scum-sucking pit bull lawyers. And the Supreme Court basically said, let's sick them on them. So they said, basically, if you have a class of plaintiffs that all have a similar complaint or have in any way been harmed in the same fashion against the same defendant, you can group them all together and we can see that case at one time. There's a reason for this. Big businesses hire craploads of attorneys. And if you, the consumer, or the user of their service, or somebody who's been harmed by one of their trucks down the road, or whatever the case may be, goes against these people, you're going to lose, because they're going to run you out of money. Now, if on the other hand, you have a bunch of people who are just like you looking at the same company saying, you screwed up, that company now has to face the very real possibility that they're going to have a team of lawyers of 15 that they're going to have to face that borrow money to fund the lawsuit because they're going to make a buttload of cash when they finally take those people to court. Is it a perfect system? Hell no, it's not perfect. But here's the thing. Companies pay attention to their bottom line. Punitive damages are punitive. They hurt. Okay? Do you know why BP capitulated to the U.S. government and gave $20 billion to the recovery fund for the southern coast? Because they knew if they didn't, the courts would get involved and they were going to get raked over the coals. Do you know why Capital One settled that lawsuit? Because they were in the wrong. If you say that you're going to post this payment, it has to be posted at midnight. And while 15 minutes of accumulated interest doesn't seem like a whole lot for any individual account holder, the truth be told, over millions of them, it's a buttload of money. And Capital One knows it, and that's why they engaged in the practice. Yeah, we have some scum-sucking intelligent people who have absolutely no morals, combing statements about profits. They're looking at business practices. They're taking every opportunity they can to take a corporation into the courtroom and kick the living hell out of them. They're doing it because they want to make some money. I'm letting them do it, and the Supreme Court wants them to do it because it's the best and most proper way to handle the law. If we don't have to pull off an attorney general from a particular state to handle a case and have 50 of them build up because there's 50 attorney generals and we can have one group of lawyers go in and kick the living hell out of this company, I'm all for it. Why did the woman get $2 million from the McDonald's case? You might think you know, oh, she's stupid, the hot coffee, whatever else. That might be true, but make no mistake, folks, that jury of 12 people may not be nearly as stupid as you think. Both the defense and the plaintiffs have to agree on the jury pool. Some of them might have been pretty smart. We're never given all the details of the case when these things are released to the news media. All we're told is the result and the primary complaint and why it began. For all we know, the woman in the window could have handed her a cup with hot liquid in it and hadn't attached the lid properly. We don't know what happened. All we know is the result. Truth is sometimes a bad case is going to come through. somebody's going to come out ahead like they shouldn't have. And when they get beat down in appeal, because those types of cases almost universally get appealed, we're never going to see the results because, let's face facts, it's not a sexy story anymore. The media isn't going to tell you, yeah, then they went to the appellate court and they cut the judgment down to $50,000. They don't tell you that sort of thing, but have faith, folks, it does happen. The reason why I'm bringing up tort reform today is because it's going to lead into other topics later on. And a lot of people, their knee-jerk reaction is nobody should get a free ride. Sometimes folks win the lottery. It just happens. It's the way it works. But in this particular instance, when they hit the lottery in the courts, it's protecting all of us. Because the reason why Capital One doesn't engage in many bad business practices they can get away with is because there's a bunch of blood-sucking, scum-eating, remora-riding frickin' attorneys waiting to take them out back and teach them a lesson. I'm Uncle Mitch. That is all.